So I realized I haven't made a video in a while. And yeah, this is another pagan priest back to make a video about gods, demons, spirits, whatever. I just watched a very interesting video by Angela Symposium, which was on the topic of demons in modern paganism. It was in partnership with Religion for Breakfast. Very, very good pair of videos. Now, that got me thinking, and I figured I should make a video talking about how I understand within my own practice and interactions the concept of demons, spirits, gods, what have you. Now, those are two kind of distinct but importantly similar and interwoven topics. So firstly, there is what is a god? What is a god? Now, a god is kind of, finding a reasonable angle, a god is kind of a twofold being. It is an interwovenness with all of reality. It is a force of reality that is bound into the very nature of reality. But like, it's a will that is bound into reality. It is an aspect of existence that is capable of will. It is beyond actual human comprehension, hence why it's impossible to completely explain it. But it's kind of like a shifting fractal of will and self and power. Power in the sense of ability to affect change in reality. Then there are spirits, which are nothing like that, but also very much like that. A spirit is either embodied or disembodied. If it's embodied, I would use the term soul. If it's disembodied, I would use more the term spirit or even demon. Now, a disembodied spirit is a being similar enough to a god in that its capacity to change reality is sort of just interwoven with its being. That which it interacts with, it can affect, sort of. They can have opinions and will. They're just sort of disembodied wills of variable power. An embodied spirit, a soul, is that which unites the self of an object, like a body. A body has as its animus its soul. Now that animus is what moves it, is what unites all the disparate parts of the body, the individual cells, the bacteria, and it is what brings all of that together. Cancer, in that sense, is a both spiritual and physical sickness because it is a rebellion by part of the body against the rest in both the physical and spiritual sense, which is why it's basically impossible to cure cancer through spiritual means, and it's a lot more effective, reliable, and workable to cure it by like medical means. Don't go looking for miracle cures unless there's literally no medical cure left. Miracle cures work maybe 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, or less times. But that's a tangent for another time. Just, if I say a disease is also spiritual as well as physical, if it's physical, go for scientific cures. They always will work more reliably than the magical because we know what makes them work. We can replicate it and test, well, we usually know roughly what makes it work better than we do what makes magic work. and you don't ever want to just throw yourself on the mercy of a god. Anyway, yeah. So, a god, then... No, I already talked about gods. What am I doing? It's really early in the morning when I'm filming this. I'm mostly just filming it to get something out. Because I haven't in ages. So, a spirit that is disembodied, a true spirit, is a being like a soul, only instead of tying a bunch of lesser spirits, lesser embodied souls into its sphere, spirits, depending on their size, are able to influence even embodied spirits, like the souls of rocks and trees and the wind, or they can communicate with other spiritual entities. Embodiment of a spirit gives it the power to affect the physical world more effectively. Disembodiment of an embodied spirit, of a soul, gives it the ability to interact with the spiritual world, which I don't believe is actually a fully distinct material reality. I think that it is a material reality and an aspect of the material reality that we exist within. But that's getting into some of my own metaphysical musings, which I'm not going to do in this video, because that's like a 3-part series. So, embodied, disembodied spirits are a different kind of thing, whereas gods, on the true sense of the term, are vast and fundamentally not understandable in human terms. That's the true nature of gods. Then there is gods as we are able to understand them, which are like a fractal. If you look at a tiny zoomed in picture of a fractal, you're looking at the whole fractal, but you're looking at a tiny piece of a fractal. Gods, as we know them, are like that. They're a small piece of the whole of a god that is able to interact with the world in a way that is comprehensible because of how little of it is. It's like if you were to take a stick and poke around in an ant farm, you're affecting change on a scale that is actually relevant to the ant farm. Only this stick is able to understand as you are able to understand, and as you. Analogy doesn't really work. This angle is ridiculous. It looks like my head is just sitting on top of a blanket. Anyway, so those aspects of gods can have names, can even have distinct personalities, while still being ultimately a piece of the same god. Usually when I'm talking about gods, what I'm actually talking about is those pieces, the gods we interact with, not the gods. Or there could honestly be one god in that sense. If that's the case, it's more like the Hindu conception, where the one god that exists in a true sense doesn't really ultimately matter to humans because it's too vast to understand and beyond our interaction with. At least that's my understanding of parts of Hindu theology, which I apologize for how much I no doubt butchered that, but that's the bits that I am familiar with from the bit of reading that I have done. But yeah, if there is only one ultimate true nature of a god, that's not really relevant, because the pieces that we interact with of that god, the gods, are gods. They are so much more powerful, so much more able to affect reality than we are, that it doesn't matter if there is in fact only one underlying pattern, because the individual pieces have different personalities, ideas about the world, and views. And some of them, like the God of Abraham and Isaac, is a bit of a propagandizing person who likes to claim that no other God exists but for himself, and is fully okay with his followers abusing that as long as there are his followers and his will is done when he actually desires it. Then he doesn't use that power for any good. Anyway, that's a different issue. Watch my monotheism video if you want to hear my thoughts on monotheism and the plague that it is. I'm probably going to remake this video and so many videos that I make at the start of my channel. But yeah, what it boils down to is gods are immensely powerful beings. Spirits are like the souls that we have, but they're disembodied, and so they interact in the spiritual world and can interact with the spirits of inanimate objects much more easily. We, as embodied souls, can interact with the physical, material components of the material world more easily. But unless we go through certain processes, use magic, then we don't have another way to interact with the world. Yeah, so apologies again for the terrible, terrible quality of this video. The ridiculous way that I am filming. Like, I'm literally filming just laying on a couch. My favorite couch, honestly, right now, I love this couch. It's wonderful. And yeah, I haven't figured out video editing, and I'm filming on my tablet again, so I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm rambling at this point and just watching the timer tick up. Good grief. Anyhow, thank you for watching. I'm another pagan priest. And yeah, please do like, comment, subscribe, whatever. If you're seeing this and you're not already subscribed, I'm shocked and overjoyed. And yeah, if you want to see a video on a topic, comment it. And I'm going to just sort of babble a little bit about topics while I give it another 30 seconds or so that I have something to put at the end of the video, because I don't know how to do video editing yet for YouTube, let alone do it on my tablet. I'm probably going to end up figuring out how to get stuff going on my computer at some point, but right now I don't have a lot of the necessary software for that. And yeah, I also don't have enough subscribers to begin doing that yet. Once people are complaining, I might look into it more. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I've been another pagan priest. Have a wonderful time out there. Stay safe, everyone.